Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It is Sunday, February 6th, and today we are continuing with our interview with Jeff Bakalar. Jeff is a gaming expert, and he's head of content development and strategy at Giant Bomb, which is a great gaming site. And I know Jeff for a long time when he was at CNET and was hosting a podcast and teaching me about everything technology and gaming, etc. Well, as it turns out, because of gaming sort of being at the center of so many technological innovations, I thought Jeff would be the perfect person to come on the air with us and talk about gaming and the metaverse. We did that yesterday, but today we're going to go into Web 3.0 and everyone's favorite topic, blockchain. Here is the second part of our interview with Jeff Bakalar. What is it that we need to know about when people say Web 3.0? What was Web 1.0? I get that. That's the beginning.
Sure.
2.0 is like, okay, Facebook, Google, like they control the internet basically,
yeah,
right?
2.0 was like, hey, we can put buttons on sites now. We could put like, flashy, we can have like nice styling and sort of consistent packaging of a site. And
and also 2.0 is that like we can kind of harness all of these disparate pieces, with these like weirdo protocols and like sort of bring it together and create a more cohesive experience for the user. Is that fair?
Yes. Two was like, hey, we can put products on the internet. And when I say a product, like a service, right? Like eBay, we can make an eBay work. We can make a YouTube work. We can make an Amazon work on this thing and people can spend money. And now, we have an economy there. 3 enters the world of blockchain and cryptocurrencies and tries to find a common ground with coexisting with all of these technologies and making the web a much more automated and productive place.
But the way it's also been described to me when we talk about 3.0 and we talk about, say, using the example of like, let's use blockchain, the technology that powers this idea that you don't have to have sort of a middleman. Is that fair to say?
I think a lot of the default catch-all explanations for Web3 is a sort of, look, the blockchain stuff gets brought up a lot with Web 3.0 because it's the trust in that technology being the driving force for a decentralized kind of internet. I personally, I don't think that's ever a truly achievable thing, but that is the spirit of what people are describing when they talk about Web3.
Yeah. And they also say that, they use this term DeFi, which is decentralized finance protocols, right? And they say, oh, isn't it great? Like now we can like just move money between us. The internet is this big, huge printing press, and there's going to be more, you're going to really know who owns what. And then I read an article today in the Wall Street Journal, headline, DeFi increasingly popular tool for laundering money, study finds.
Look, to be fair, yes, I agree with that criticism. To be fair, so is cash.
Absolutely. But that's why you can't go into a bank and say, that's why a bank has to report if you want to take more than $10,000 in or out of a bank.
Absolutely. We're still in the very much wild west of this moment. And I don't, claim to be a hyper pro crypto person either way. I do think blockchain technology in a vacuum, I think it is impressive stuff, and I think it's important. The way it's sort of being used right now and the kind of things that it gets, let's just say, swept up in feels like a much more temporary smash and grab, almost, pyramid scheme than what I think blockchain will inevitably be successfully used for.
What is it going to be successfully used for real?
I think what is attractive and interesting and intriguing about blockchain is the idea of having some kind of open source ledger for ownership and for tracking things on the internet. I think that is the most provocative aspect of it. Like the fact that you can somehow have this bulletproof, unhackable ledger that tracks transactions and whatever you want to apply that technology to, to me seems like a valuable thing to have on the internet. The way it's been used right now seems a little superficial. I think the potential for it, when it really starts to get used in a truly meaningful way, will democratize a lot of information and value. Without a doubt, in my opinion, blockchain is a part of our internet future. I think we have to get out of the sort of growing pains moment that we're in right now.
Remember, Jill, blockchain, it's like going to a library, opening up the book and checking out the library card and seeing everybody who took out that book.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a perfectly fine way to describe it.
So who is the guy who is that, Dan, who gave us that analogy?
Yeah, Dan Roberts.
So, I mean, I think it's moved beyond the opening up the back of the book. I think that really what has happened is, what's the problem with the internet right now? I mean, I don't really care about the HTTP, like that's why I don't care about like the technology powering. The problem, it's a printing press. Like you can copy anything.
I was going to say the problem with the internet is that it has basically allowed information and newsmakers to become completely sort of like run amok and completely, influence a huge population of people based off of like disinformation and stuff that is simply not true.
Well, okay, but blockchain's not going to solve the problem of disinformation, is it?
Maybe.
How
look,
so?
Here's the thing: we might be too far gone. Number one, because
that's what I think.
Yeah, I think I think Pandora's box has been open for a little too long, where there's no kind of stuffing it back in. But the idea where blockchain could help is if anyone is left that cares about a reliable source, that is something I think blockchain could have an impact on.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I don't hold a lot of hope for that. I really don't.
Sure, because again, that will probably not be the most lucrative use of it.
Exactly.
And when it comes to how can we turn this into revenue, having a sort of like bulletproof source, using it as a bulletproof sourcing mechanism, maybe not the way it gets implemented in a meaningful way.
Right. I mean, because I sort of think like the problem, like if you're a musician, if you're a writer, if you're, trying to track down who owns this asset, that's the part that I think that having a way to specify who owns what, and like technologically we can do that. I kind of get that. But sure. I don't get that, like, first of all, I think it's such garbage that the people who are like the crypto cheerleaders are all like, oh, there's going to be no middleman. But of course there's going to be a middleman, because that's how they're going to make money. So someone's going to control that. So I don't buy that there's going to be no middleman. There was no middleman from, 1985 to 1994, let's say. And then all the middlemen and women got in there, right?
It does seem to be a supremely ambitious take that there will somehow never be intervention in any way or form. I don't know. The huge pillars of world commerce would have to shift dramatically for there to be an allowance of that sort of change.
I don't think in our lifetime.
No, I don't know. Yeah,
and I get your point that it would be nice if you didn't have the people out there who were unwilling to take responsibility for the Frankenstein monsters they created. Hello, Mark Zuckerberg. But, that's just where, that is where we are. So do you feel like there's any chance that this iteration of Web 3.0 could potentially change some of that or not?
Out of the gate, no. I think, like everything, it takes a really long time. Right now, it seems like some of the worst actors are at the helm. The idea that decentralization is somehow this, freeing up of everything, it's sort of not, it's not this airtight sort of pitch. And I think it's going to take a lot of figuring out before it is used in a way that pushes the progress in the right direction. So, there is so much chest pounding and so much emotional investment and monetary investment in what the possibilities are for technologies like blockchain, that it's tough to see how it somehow just all falls into place out of the gate.
Yeah.
It's just not where we're seeing yet. But again, it is so nascent. It is so new. I'm still sort of on the fence about it. I'm not on the fence about it being a part of Web3 in the future of the internet. It will absolutely will be.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have a positive effect? I think I'm still in the middle on.
God bless you. Mark, do you have any questions for Jeff while he's with us before he has to go and be a gaming professional?
Gaming addiction and screen time is a very real thing. How do you deal with that with your own son?
You know, a lot of it is just being very aware of like what your child is doing. You know, there are, you know, automated mechanisms in place that you can take advantage of. You know, all the console makers have tools that let you limit screen time and do that sort of stuff, but it has to be an interactive thing. You have to take control and learn about what they are doing. It's never been easier to kind of automate that process, but at the same time, there's definitely a responsibility to sort of, you know, step in and kind of say, hey, like this is it. I mean, for my son, he has a limited amount of time to do it every week. And when he hits that time, you know, he switches to something else and we make sure he does it. So I know that for some parents that might be, you know, easier said than done, but that is sort of the, you know, the sort of tool set that and routine that we've kind of tried to own and use in our day to day.
Mark, what else? When are we going to, how is Theo doing in his gaming career so far, you know, as he approaches his 3rd birthday?
No gaming. I mean, you know, he loves his cartoons. He's got his handful of cartoons that that are his go-to. That's for sure. I don't know if video games is really much in his future. I'm not into it, you know.
I think it's all about still striking a balance, right? Like when it's nice enough outside, like we have to play hockey. Like we know we're going to get driveway hockey in at some point, and it's finding that kind of balance. I'll say this, you know, I think I have a slightly controversial take on TV versus video games, where I would almost prefer him to play a game than to watch a show. I know
really
he's learned to read better through playing video games, because the games that he wants to play, he has to read. He has to see what people are saying.
Could you possibly do it where he learns how to code?
Sure. I mean, look, very basic, even children's games are like the building blocks of coding. And, you know, I think they do like an hour a week in school with basic coding. So understanding that language is definitely a part of the equation. You know, I don't mind him watching cartoons and stuff like that, but I would almost rather him play something cerebral to build coordination and sort of, you know, input output kind of reflexes.
Okay, that's our weekend. Jeff Bakalar, you can find all of his stuff over at Red Ventures. Again, the website is Giant Bomb, and Jeff is just so smart and so much fun, and we are so grateful that we count him among our friends. If you have a financial question, just go to the website, jillonmoney.com, which I know you've bookmarked. I know you have. Click the Contact Us button, and we will be happy to get you on the air with us, or we'll just answer your question as an email. Don't forget, all the content that lives on Jill on Money is updated all the time. Come check back, bookmark it, do all that stuff. And please lift someone up today. Grit, growth, grace, little gratitude. It's Sunday. Come on. And we thank you for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.